Could you introduce a little bit your work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really see it as my work, but it's something that just happens. These words about, I suppose, non-duality come out. But you just have to give it a few moments while it comes. So what I talk about is the end of suffering, the end of living in a bound reality, an energetical bound reality of feeling like you're separate inside the world, separate from everyone else. You have free will and choice, and you have to find your happiness in the world. It's your responsibility to find your happiness, and you're the biggest fuck up if you haven't found your happiness. And so I talk about the end of that game happening, that end of the seeking energy, the searching energy, the one that feels like it's got to get somewhere and do something, and it lives in time, in past and future, and it's also conceptual. It's also made up of words. Of who you think you are is an intellectual understanding of someone that's done things, done actions in the past and is going to places in the future. And I talk about the collapse of that, which ultimately is an energetical thing, but it also is conceptual as well. And the collapse of living in a separate reality that's in past and future, and then just living, and then no separation anymore. There's just life appearing, there's just what is, and life becoming very simple. And it's no longer you in relationship with anything and you having problems with the world. There's just the world happening. So.
Okay, sounds very nice. Yeah, and
so it is. But just to be clear, I say suffering. I don't know what else to call it, but it is the end of something. It's not getting to a place. It's the end of something.
So, do you think we're always trying to get somewhere? So we don't have to get anywhere. We just have to end something.
You couldn't even end something, but because that would still be getting somewhere. It's such a mindfuck.
Yeah, it is.
But
it sounds like I have to push a button and then
like an eject.
Yes.
Eject this person.
Yeah.
But it's not even quite like that. It's actually really mysterious as to how it's happening. The person that's looking has taken things to be really normal and really ordinary and thinks it knows things, but it's really, really mysterious as to what's happening. We can't even find a place that any of this is coming from. We can't find a place of who we think we are, who the other is, how action's happening. We can never get to an answer. It's really mysterious as to what's happening. But there can be a collapse of that knower that's looking and thinks it knows that it acts separately, it has free will, and it has to get somewhere. But it's not somebody's doing, and then everyone says, well, then how does it happen? And this is when it all becomes this big question mark. But the question mark was all that was ever wanted. It was never the understanding, the intellectual bullshit that I talk, that all other speakers talk. It was the collapse into this mystery. And actually mystery was what was wanted, even though the seeker says mystery's bad, not knowing's bad. I've got to know, I've got to understand, I've got to get there, I've got to know what I'm going for. Actually just, we don't know, we'll never know what the hell's happening. It's appearing for, we don't know what reason, we don't know why, we don't know who it's appearing for, we don't know who you are or other it is. There is just life happening, and it's not conceptual at all. Concepts are something that appeared in it to help humans evolve.
So the big question always is, and I have that with almost everyone I interview, is I always think, okay, she got it, but I don't know if I got it. It's always like that.
Yeah. Well, the essence, that innocence we were talking about, that boundlessness is always free, and it's the nature.
Everybody has it.
Everybody is it. Everything is it. So it's the freedom is there. But what can sometimes be appearing is this personal that's saying, I'm not it. And its biggest story is, I've got this wrong and I'm not it. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough.
So I could say everybody's enlightened.
Everything is enlightened. Everything. Everything
that's
is
interesting.
screaming.
Never
this
had
presence.
anyone say that.
No?
No.
Everything is screaming this presence.
So they are, but they don't know.
No one will ever know it, but what they think is they're not.
Exactly.
You'll never know it intellectually, but what they think is they're not. That's the whole assumption of this person.
Yeah.
And what society seems to teach the body-mind mechanisms. You're not good enough.
Exactly.
You've got to do well at school to be better. You've got to be better in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I always say we all love each other, we just don't know it.
Yeah, it's all love.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
And when
if I say that, they look very funny at me.
Yeah. And when you say that there is no good and bad, people often think then the body would act badly. But that's not true. The essence of everything is love. You don't need to teach yourself how to be good.
Exactly.
It is as it is.